welcome to Bonehead. We're doing...
Not well. We're not doing well.
No.
We need help.
All right.
Penicillin. Lots of penicillin.
All right, welcome to Bonehead. This is episode 2 of our 80s cartoons. Today,
It's not actually episode 2. It's probably like episode 21, 22.
No, episode 2
of
the
our
80s
cartoons.
And
She
then
says
when
it's 25. You can say out loud, Haley, 25.
But shouldn't it just
I like
be
you all
part...
to seem like you know what's going on.
But we don't.
It's best.
So technically, it's
I will not lie to our viewers. We are borderline incompetent.
It's
Nobody can
episode
hear you
25.
because your eyes are covered with a hat.
That's fine. It's episode 25, 80s cartoons part 2.
Then why don't you do the
smell of
intros?
fear.
I just did. You're welcome.
The smell of fear.
You didn't do it well. The smell of fear. Anyway, so we're talking about
It's
80s cartoons that were for whom?
The women folk, of course.
You spare the women?
No, we're not doing that.
We're not doing it.
No,
We're not doing the
it.
Blazing Saddles reference, but those of you that know it.
Don't look it up.
Giggled.
Or you're calling your magistrate.
Number 6. Anyway.
Is there a magistrate? Well, we did... I figured we'd kick this off. I'll just run through this very quickly. We did ask for your feedback.
Yeah, and we got a ton of it.
We got a ton of feedback. I do want to point out, not through Bonehead,
Nope.
but when we posted individually on our Facebook account.
Not through Twitter either.
Not
Nobody
through
could have
Twitter.
cared less about Twitter.
I tweeted it, Bonehead tweeted it, you tweeted it. We got nothing. So this tells us that you people hate the Twitter sphere.
But you love some Facebooks.
Because I did ask for feedback. I got over 120 comments.
That's just what you got. That's not including the bunch I got as well.
But
I got 0.
Because you don't do anything.
And you also have a rock.
And you also are a Mennonite that believe computers steal souls.
Why don't you go outside and fix my buggy, bitch?
Which sounds like it could be the first Mennonite rap song.
Is that thing on your wrist a key to hell?
Oddly enough, yes.
Anyway, I got feedback. This is actually the rankings that I got. I talk with my hands. I didn't get my degrees in communication. I got them in something, that counts.
Yeah, education.
Sheep herding?
Education for those who can't.
No, sheep herding.
Education. Where do you all work again? Anyway.
I ain't gonna say anything. I need the money.
You need the money.
I need the money.
Do I.
Let's read your grocery
Go through it.
This is actually the ranking that I got from women, as women said they like certain cartoons.
Should we give a shout out to some of the women who said?
Well, I was going to do that at the end.
Okay.
Because I got it at the end, and I'd have to find it in my book. But number
It's a
one,
little black book.
tons of people actually said Jim. That was the number one I heard the most about.
Are you going to do the joke?
We'll talk about some of these.
What joke?
She's totally.
Truly, not totally. That's outrageous. It's truly outrageous. Truly.
She's truly, but she can never be totally
outrageous. No.
What a bunch of horse shit.
Because sometimes she has to be her alternate identity, Jerica. Did I make that up? Something like that.
No, it's Jerica, yeah.
I like that show. That was the one with the guy from Scream. I met him. Chicks kept hitting on him at the bar next to me.
I just realized what he did, and I feel sad for me.
You know, one thing about
Skeet Ulrich.
You know, one thing about Jim and the Holograms, other than
I've actually never
the
seen
fact they were outrageous, truly outrageous.
Well, other than
truly,
but not totally.
If outrageous you mean awful, no. But the fact that Jim and the Holograms,
you're upsetting fans.
I'm sorry.
Would you just let Chad talk?
I watched several episodes
Never
today.
thought I'd ever say
if
that.
you liked it, go back and watch it. Get back with us.
That's much better than our first few episodes where if I told people that they should eat a bullet if they didn't agree with me.
No, if they can disagree with me, I don't care. You
don't care about anything.
Well, we'll circle back to these.
But one thing about Jim and the Holograms.
He's a nihilist.
Are we okay? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, Mr.
We'll come back
Jim,
to it.
actually, I've got some trivia on that I thought you all would appreciate.
Mr. Lectern.
She-Ra and He-Man tied for second place. Equal amounts of women said they liked She-Ra, and equal amounts said they liked He-Man.
Well, He-Man had a lot of female characters that were strong.
That's what we're going to circle back to.
In fact, if it wasn't for females, He-Man wouldn't be He-Man. Continue.
Scooby-Doo was number 3, the 80s incarnations of Scooby-Doo. Smurfs was 4. Gummy Bears and Thundercats tied for 5th. Tied for 6th were DuckTales, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and Chip and Dale. Heathcliff was next. Actually, Heathcliff, Inspector Gadget, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Care Bears, G.I. Joe, Fat Albert, all tied for the next spot.
I can't believe Garfield wasn't on that.
Yeah.
That actually felt... Heathcliff outranked Garfield.
I mean, I
We'll
like
talk about that in a second, too. But
and the Cadillac Cats.
Yeah.
I had to look it up.
And the Cadillac Cats. They lived in the dump.
I'll talk about it in a second because...
Sounds like Top Cat.
Because Heathcliff's a total ripoff of Garfield, but Garfield, the series, is a ripoff of Heathcliff, the way they split it up. Where there's two... Like, there's the Heathcliff story, but there's a totally set of different characters. Like, do you know same thing they did with the cartoon later? After they were done doing the specials all through the 80s.
The history, though, of Garfield, it was never meant to be funny. It was a cash-in. He wrote what would be the most non-offensive, everybody hates Mondays, and then he was trying to think of something they could eat, or something a cat would eat. He wanted it to be obscure, and he thought about pizza, and then he just decided at the last minute he was at an Italian restaurant and whistled lasagna. Garfield was created not to be funny, but to be inoffensive, so it would sell to every paper. The Smithsonian did an article about it. It's hilarious. The article.
So I couldn't talk about Jim and the Hologram, but you gave that little tidbit?
Well, no, because Garfield was in the next group. Heathcliff outranked it. Next group tied was Muppet Babies, Count Duckula, which I loved, Get Along Gang.
I've never seen it.
Wuzzles, My Little Pony, the old school one, and Garfield. And then these all tied for all of it was... And after it got more obscure than this, I quit. But these all tied for the next place, which was Danger Mouse, Shirt Tails, Voltron, Silverhawks, Dungeons and Dragons, The Littles, Flash Gordon, the cartoon from the early 80s.
Now, we have Shirt Tails here, and go ahead and finish.
Ninja Turtles, Paw Paws, and Biscuits.
Okay, really quick. So if you look at the table, everything on the table except for what Chad brought is vintage. Right?
Well, the My Little Pony DVD.
Yeah, go ahead and piss on the stuff I brought.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I had to. It was funny to me.
And most of the stuff on the table I bought.
You didn't buy Rose Petal.
I didn't buy Rose Petal.
I bought Rose Petal, which is a whole totally different story. Yeah, so we have Rose Petal, we have the Smurfs, we have the Shirt Tail.
This Arnold Palmer isn't vintage.
And Arnold Palmer, and then we have Strawberry Shortcake. We have She-Ra, right? We have My Little Pony, which is vintage.
For those listening to us and not watching it, just imagine what James is doing right now.
Sounds like his hand's in a mayonnaise jar. Oh, now that's my good stained carpet. Okay, anyway.
I spilled it on the meat juice.
So I just want to say thank you to Christina Lewis for giving up her collection, and Chad and James.
Okay, good for you. So
what?
can we talk
about
a
nice guy?
You're failing miserably.
Nice guys would have had chips for us to eat.
Yeah, no.
Maybe a beverage of some sort.
I gave you some chips last week. You wouldn't eat them.
I didn't say no. You only offered them.
We're 8 minutes in. Haley says, "Let's go."
So can we talk about Jim and the Holograms? Can we go? Can we circle back around?
Did you finish giving a shout out to the people who?
Well, that's what I was going to do at the very end of the episode.
Oh, okay.
So Jim and the Holograms. Man.
It's good, huh?
Oh, shoot. It's awful.
That movie, I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Oh, no, the movie is...
I watched a few minutes.
The movie is terrible.
I have no idea what it has to do with Jim.
It does.
It has nothing
There's no
to do with
computer.
Jim. Yeah. It's the same. Jim and the Holograms movie is the same as Masters of the Universe, the movie. Neither one of them.
I feel Masters of the Universe got it closer than Jim and the Holograms.
Really?
At least it had He-Man.
Yeah.
And Man at Arms. And Evil Lynn and Skeletor.
And Sheila.
But do you know who created Jim?
No.
Satan.
The story behind this is why I said this would be what you all would be interested in. Jim was created by, I forget her first name, it may have been...
Female Satan.
Patricia Clymer, I think. The last name is Clymer. Here's the story behind that. They made the toys first, and they were going to release them. And originally it was going
Her name was Lucy Fur.
It was originally going to be called M, not Jim. And the reason for that was her name was just going to be M for music.
But
the problem would be
there's a child killer movie about that directed by Fritz Lang.
No, that's not what they were worried about at all.
Butterfly?
They would have loved to have that crossover. They were worried that because M was going to perform music and be on TV, that it would be referred to as the MTV show.
It's not even where I went. I swear to God, I went to Fritz Lang's M.
For those of you that don't get why that is relevant, there was a time when MTV played nothing but music videos.
And had Kurt Loder.
And you watched music videos. You had a VJ, but other than that, it was like a radio. VJ would say a couple words, they'd play music, words.
And then
musically.
this Lucy Fur came in.
Well,
Climber-
the other criticism Jim and the Hologram got, if I'm not mistaken, was that they were ripping off Barbie. But actually,
I was gonna
they
say,
Jim and the
trying to
Holograms
attack-
came first.
yes,
It's
and
just Barbie got wind of the fact that
Yep.
Jim and the Holograms was coming, so they immediately rushed out a
Barbie and the Rockers.
Barbie and the Rockers.
Barbie. Well, here's what happened. Clymer was brought on board because Clymer had worked on this other fly-by-night show that I'm not a big fan of called G.I. Joe. She wrote
You
episodes.
Rat.
Bastard.
She wrote tons of episodes of G.I. Joe and He-Man. So that was her credential. So they brought her on and they said, hey, we need these renamed. We've already started renaming them first names. We need you to give them last names and backstories around the cartoon. And that's how she created Jim and the Holograms.
Yeah, and I get why Jim and the Holograms was popular among females. I mean, it was a pretty decent cartoon.
You're
but
so
just,
sexist.
the main reason that Jim and the Hologram gets me is the songs. The songs are just terrible.
But I think
They're
at that
worse
time...
are they worse than the songs in the Transformers movie?
No. With the exception
What?
of the Weird Al song that's in the Transformers
The
movie.
Transformer the movie.
Dog Eat
I love
Dog.
the songs in Transformers the movie.
Do you know that's one of the song with Dirk
Boogie
Diggler?
Nights. Yes,
yeah,
I know.
yeah,
You got
it's-
the power. Yeah, I know this. It's a great song. It's not a great song.
No. Dude, they were all churned out by the same people at Hasbro going, what can we market, what can we do, what can we... So anyway, so Clymer created Jim, wrote the show, did all this stuff. What you all bring up is absolutely true. Jim was making money as a doll series after the show came out. The problem was, when Barbie and the Rockers hit, what actually happened was neither one of them won. They perfectly divide the market.
I don't think that's the way it tells in the Barbie documentary.
Yeah.
Well, if you read read about Jim, the reason Jim the cartoon
Oh my
stopped,
God! Alternative history,
Yeah.
right up there with alternative facts.
what
And
happened?
Haley has zoned out.
What happened
back.
to the Jim? Why the Jim show got canceled was
Yes.
toy sales. It was the toy sales fault, much like the Thundercats reboot got canceled because the toys sucked.
Yeah.
Same thing happened. According to the company that made Jim, the reason they stopped making Jim was they made 2 or 3 seasons. And when they brought out the new series of toys, is when Barbie and the Rocker all of a sudden released their new wave. And according to the people who made Jim, they weren't seeing the return on the toys that they saw before because the Barbie and the Rocker hit even pan with them. And they just stopped selling, so they stopped producing the toys. And once the toys died, there's no show. The funny part about that is,
I haven't got to the humor. Have you? Have you heard the
I'm
humor?
waiting
No,
on James to get to a point so I can talk.
well, no, what I'm trying to get to is what that show did that other shows didn't do, and the reason a lot of people did like it was it wasn't good versus evil either. The Misfits weren't evil; they just wanted more. They represented.
They
wish-
tried
I
to
wish-
kill Jim and the Holograms in several episodes.
I wish
no.
we had asked for money instead of a little bit of this.
Yeah.
The other part
How is that not them being evil?
because there was one of them that always felt bad
I'm
about
gonna be
it,
over here looking at
and
the camera.
then
How you doing?
they added the Stingers.
How you doing?
Did you watch any episodes with the Stingers?
Yes, the
Welcome to
Stingers with
Bonehead.
the guy with the
How
big
you
blue,
doing?
wonderful blue. The guy.
That's for you. You know
Yeah.
who you are.
I don't joke. All right. Want to come back to the conversation?
No.
I was making Haley laugh, so I was hoping the audience would laugh because it's bored as hell.
No,
Keep
now
going.
now there's somebody out there that thinks he was
No.
kissing me, and they're gonna wear your skin.
But my
one day.
problem with Jim and the Holograms is, and this was something in every 80s cartoon had an episode with this, where
walking behind a horse.
they used rock music
Yes.
as a conduit of evil. G.I. Joe had an
But it
episode.
is. It's the devil music. Lucy Fur told me about that.
G.I. Joe had Zartan and the Dreadnoughts as a rock band playing hypnotic music to get people to come to
Hold on.
combat.
What is it? What is it? We are. I can remember the song.
I
if
can't
you give me
remember
a
the song.
I bet that episode
But
was written by
and then
Clymer.
Soundwave and Transformers, for some reason, nobody gave a crap about the fact that there's a giant tape deck playing hypnotic music.
You think you'd update that with a C?
And
No,
what-
I guess how would you update that with an iPod?
It would
I
just
don't-
it'd be a cursed MP3 or something.
But every episode, this is my problem with Jim and Holograms. Every single 80s cartoon almost had
So why is
this
it the
episode.
problem only with Jim when everyone did it?
No, this is the problem.
Why aren't you trashing G.I. Joe?
I'm trying to get to that point. Why don't you tell us more of your boring shit?
What? No, go.
Sorry, bleep me out.
Somebody had
Go.
an anger
I was
sandwich. before they got here.
somebody an energy
He always
drink.
says I get angry.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet he had a sexist.
I was
energy
just
drink,
kissing
too.
our audience.
No, so the
Not sexist in a different way.
my problem with this is
Hello, lady.
every cartoon, this was the bad episode. This was like the throwaway episode. And Jim and the Holograms is 3 seasons of that. It was just bad song after bad song.
Cold Sliver. Where Cold Sliver will be joining us soon.
That's right.
A band of vipers playing our tune.
Even one of my favorites that you all both hate, Cops, had a rock band episode.
Cops is an abortion.
It is not.
Not even
It's
a
an
good
animated abortion.
one. It's an animated abortion.
But no, I
Done
understand.
in a back alley.
I do understand why Jim and the Holograms was important.
What Jim Henson had to watch.
What Jim Henson had to watch,
Why
and
did he have
Kermit's
to
over
watch?
in the corner crying. Never be those piglets.
I'm just shocked that. I'm just really shocked that was.
Let's get the Muppet Babies. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything to add about Jim. I'm just listening to
I
you
know.
all.
That's the
I
thing.
was hoping you'd fight it out.
I just think it's funny though because Jim. I
Your
think
stuff isn't boring. It's fascinating. I'm sorry.
I think the reason a lot of people like Jim, and one of the comments that was made,
I have no
Janie,
idea.
thank you for this comment, but was also it was fashion.
Hey, Jane.
Yeah, I can see that.
It was fashion. It was 80s fashion.
You mean when she
No.
wasn't turning into a surfboard?
Did the
You want to
computer
talk about Transformers where they he transformed into a tape deck, a dinosaur. I mean, what in the world were they?
I'm
thinking?
sorry. Are you actually comparing a giant robot that turns into a T-Rex compared to a woman who touches her earrings and turns into a surfboard?
Yes, so she can hide versus where's the dinosaur gonna quick? What was the dinosaur's name? Lockjaw.
Yeah, well, yeah. Go with
I
Lockjaw.
don't know. What-
By the way, Snow Job, you MFers, is the actual G.I. Joe name.
I know. I had it right.
You were yelling at me saying it's not Snow Job in the last
Oh,
episode.
was that? I thought it was Avalanche. That's right. It's not Avalanche. It's Snow Job. Really?
Snow Job, look it up, bitches.
So does
And I was on
I
eBay
don't-
and yelled out, and you were
Without-
nowhere near. Neither one of
without
you.
any commentary, was there ever an episode where Snow Job and Beachhead teamed up?
I'm sure there was. Beachhead was my favorite GI Joe, but that's the reason.
It's so funny.
I'm just saying. If that wasn't an episode, we need to call up who's making the next movie. Michael Bay, I don't know. Listen, we want one. We're gonna write a subplot. Just let us run.
Yeah. They had a son and called him Snowball. If you're Clerks fans, look that up.
Well, if you're a Clark fan, you won't.
You already know what it is.
Anyway, but no, I was gonna say, not to defend Jim, but in all fairness,
We
it
spent
is
way too much time
it
on
is
him.
no more ludicrous than
Oh, they're all crazy, and they're
Yeah.
all meant to sell toys.
Toys, yeah.
You
Yeah.
get half-ass ratings, get half your money back, or money back, and sell toys.
Oh yeah.
Which I mean, in that time, it was syndicated.
Yeah.
Were syndicated.
Most of that's true. Most of the cartoons we talked about, I think Shirt Tails and the Smurfs were Saturday morning cartoons, but most of the ones we've talked about were the syndicated ones that came on 5 days a week, like
Yeah.
G.I. Joe, Transformers.
Yeah.
Snorks maybe was a.
I think Snorks was
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning, yeah.
Yeah.
Snorks was Saturday
But
morning.
most of,
You
and there's
had
a
to
difference
sing.
between those.
Yeah, because I mean, at the same time, it really wasn't about ratings. It was, hey, I've got this big pile of cartoons
Yep.
for bulk.
Well,
You got a time slot here.
Yeah.
Pay us.
yeah. I was
And there
gonna
was
say,
3 or 4 channels.
well,
Yes.
and I was gonna say, and you had DIC Dick, whatever the animation company. You had Filmation. There weren't that many of them, and they all just fought over properties
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
churned them out.
So what's our next 80s cartoon that was really popular?
Uh,
I mean, there's a bunch here. I Rose Petal I've got here, and my
I've
wife's
never
a
seen
fan.
Rose Petal.
There's not, and it wasn't a series. They
It was
did
just- yeah.
they did two kind of like small movies.
Oh, really?
I'll try to watch one of them today. The most interesting part of this was it's created by David Kirshner. David Kirshner would go on to give us Fievel, American Tail,
Yep.
and Chucky.
Yep.
He produced all the Child's Play movies. So that's it. That's all I got to say about that. Snorks. People like the Snorks. What's the next one?
I want to talk a second about gummy bears.
They're bouncing here and there and everywhere.
They
Wild
have high
adventures that are
adventures.
beyond compare.
Yeah.
They are
The Gummy Bears.
They're dashing and
They're daring,
courageous,
and caring. God, we watched a lot of Gummy Bears, didn't we?
Gummy-
That was another Saturday morning one, right?
Yeah, it was Saturday morning. It wasn't anything Disney's not going to be syndicated.
Syndicated.
But it did.
Well, no,
jump channels.
DuckTales was.
Yeah.
DuckTales and Rescue Rangers.
Really?
Yes,
They started off, because Fox aired them.
Because
And then
I
they
came
eventually
home
had
and
the
watched
Disney
those
after
after. I didn't care for Rescue Rangers for some odd reason. I thought that was beneath me, but I like DuckTales.
I really like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
You know what? What's funny is, and we'll circle back to this near the end. We'll just talk about all these and why women said they liked them, because that's one of the questions I ask back to people. But what's funny about Gummy Bears is, for nerds, Star Wars nerds, useless trivia if it ever comes up. Do you know who performed the theme song?
No idea.
John Williams' son, who was one of the lead singers of Toto, who
I
missed
didn't know
the
that.
rains down in Africa. The song was actually written by a husband and wife team who still right today. They're divorced now, but they did the theme for the Dinosaur Train. If anybody watched Jim Henson's Dinosaur Train, it's on KET. Teaches kids about dinosaur trains.
Come on and ride the dinosaur train right now.
There you go.
Well, which beats the previous idea of Dinosaur Pony.
God.
Yeah, honey, let's do it. Ride my dinosaur pony. Anyway,
There was Cadillac.
T-Rex, bang a
There
gong.
was. There was
Anyway.
Cadillac and dinosaurs.
but yeah, so that cartoon in some ways revived Disney animation. It was the first Disney TV animation that was produced by the TV animation studio, which later did DuckTales and later did a bunch of stuff, and then started doing movies for a while too. Did the DuckTales movie and a bunch of those.
Treasure of the Lost Lamp.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, yeah. I own it, by the way.
I used to have a copy of. I have a copy on VHS.
I have a DVD copy. For a long time, you could only get it through the Disney Movie Club, but now they released it.
What's
But
next?
anyway, but yeah, so Gummy Bears had actually a medical
Yeah,
musical.
I got some out in Colorado.
Musical pedigree. John Williams' son.
We're glazing
but
right
it was
over
such
that.
it was such a weird concept for a show. Hey, we drink this juice and we bounce on our butts.
And actually, the story behind
But did you
that
not
was,
enjoy it?
Honest, I liked it, but it was never one that I watched frequently.
I think it was Eisner. I could be getting this wrong, but I think it was Eisner. And the idea came about was he was sitting, and his son said, "I want some of those gummy bears." And now we all know what gummy bears are, but I guess Eisner had heard of them at the time. And he goes, "Why do you like them?" He goes, "They're springy." And he literally went to some writers and said, "Could we do something about bears that are springy?" And that's where the Adventures of the Gummy
I've
Bears.
had a quarter for every time something amazing, or I shouldn't say amazing, but just came into being because someone who had.
But
Sometimes it gives you gummy
It's still-
bears. Sometimes it gives you
I want
monster
to know
trucks.
why was this popular among girls in the 80s? Because it literally was just, hey, I'll drink this juice and my butt turns to rubber.
Well, I think the other side
Maybe
of
some
that, though,
people
was,
like rubber butts,
I
and they
think
cannot
you're
lie.
forgetting though. It had a strong. There was a strong matriarchal figure, Granny Gummy,
Yeah.
voiced by June Foray, known for most people of all ages as Rocket J.
This is the
Squirrel.
horror on the
Lena
corner.
Hyena.
Rocket J. Squirrel.
I'm sticking with the horror in the corner.
I'm sticking with Lena Hyena.
Anyway, so it did have. And when we'll circle back to this, when I ask people why they like certain things, we'll circle back.
Well,
to
let's
this
get through. We're never going to circle back if we don't move through these a
Yeah.
little quicker.
Go.
Well, I don't. You're the one with the. I have Rainbow Bright.
Rainbow.
Which, by the way, some of these villains are stupid. So you know what?
Who was the villain in Rainbow Bright? Because I don't even remember that.
Berkey
Carl.
and Lurky.
Excuse me?
Berkey and Lurky.
Not to
And
be
they were
confused-
trying to steal color because they were black and white, and the world was black and white, and Rainbow Bright was trying to paint color.
But by the way,
And they take away color.
If-
And I forgot Rose Petal's villain was Nastina, which I think I dated her.
actually she was Tina before Joe dated her. They had some
And then
things.
after
Now
that,
she's nasty.
now she's called Nastina with herpes.
Nastina.
Well, here's the funny part about
Space
that, though. You
herpes.
mentioned Rainbow Bright. This
Yeah.
is the one fun piece of trivia. If boys were targeted by
Lurky and
toy
Lurky.
companies, girls were targeted by card companies.
Card?
Rainbow Bright was was a card, like
Like a card playing game?
no, greeting card. I'm gonna brighten your day. It was Rainbow Bright.
Oh.
So was Strawberry Shortcake. So was Shirt Tails.
Woohoo.
That's a different show.
I know.
What was the other one? There were 3 or 4 cartoons that people mentioned that were on my list, and when I looked at, oh, here they are. Shirt Tails was Hallmark. Rainbow Bright was Hallmark. The Get Along Gang, which some people mention, was American Greeting, and Strawberry Shortcake was American
So
Greeting.
they started out as cards before they ever became toys.
Yes.
So did they do the toy line and then the animated series, or the animated series and then the toy line?
The cards sold, and people were like, "Oh, these are cute. I'll send these cards to my kids." You know, like, "Oh, it's my niece's birthday. I'll send them." And then they were realizing,
Like Poops and Toto.
Yeah.
I know it's Hoops and Yo-Yo or whatever it is. I've actually said the name so wrong. Christy likes them.
Loops and Mojo.
Or Coots and Zozo. I do it differently every time.
but anyway, yeah. So they started off as greeting cards. They were designed for greeting cards. They realized, oh, these are
Farts and no-nos? We'll go with farts and no-nos.
Anyway.
Name of the episode.
Sharts and Zozo. I have sharted in your card. No.
Anyway, but they were greeting cards first. So if you go back and look up the first Rainbow Bright, it was, and that was one of the slogans was something like "to brighten your day." Rainbow Bright's here to brighten your day. So if toy companies, which they did, preyed on males, a lot of the things that were created quote unquote for girls actually started as cards, greeting cards.
Well,
That is
how many My Little Ponies did we have? Not a lot.
There wasn't a lot of My Little Ponies. They were originally.
By the way,
done...
Tony Randall did the voice of the Moochick. I think that's
Yeah.
the villain. That for some odd reason, Tony Randall was the odd couple on the TV series, not the original movie.
What's
would be
funny
Jack-
He was
about
also
this,
the main gremlin in Gremlins 2.
And the new batch. Here they grow again.
we talked about this a little bit last time, but Frank Welker popped up in most of these,
Of course.
Well, Frank Welker's going to pop up in every 80s
with one
cartoon.
exception.
And Peter Cullen popped up in several
Yes,
of them.
Peter Cullen did. That was the other one I was going to mention. With one exception that Frank Welker never appeared in, and this is useless trivia, but Heathcliff came up earlier.
Who did the voice of Heathcliff?
No idea.
I don't know, but Heathcliff, no one should terrorize the neighborhood.
Mel Blanc.
Mel Blanc, you're right.
And if you listen to it, it's almost damn near Bugs Bunny.
I'll be
It's
honest.
a shade off.
Mel
Wow.
Blanc.
I don't know why I had to look. I knew it, but my mind went blank.
Here's what's funny. Frank Welker never did any voiceover work for Heathcliff. However, in 2013, there was going to be a direct-to-video CGI Heathcliff movie made to cash in on the second Garfield movie.
A Tale of Two Kitties.
The Tale of Two Kitties did.
I've never even seen this. Why do I have that in my brain? I can't do calculus. I've never
The
seen
Tale
the
of Two
movie.
Kitties didn't perform as well. They decided to scrap the project. But until it was canceled, guess who they had picked to do the voice of Heathcliff since Mel Blanc was dead?
It was Mel Blanc. Yeah, Mel Blanc.
Frank Welker was going to voice Heathcliff. It would have brought him into every.
And Frank
80s
Welker,
probably
for any of you all that don't know, and Peter Cullen, these are huge, like Maurice LaMarche,
the other thing
huge
about
voiceover actors.
the other thing about My Little Pony is if you watch some of them, this is true for My Little Pony and something else. Is it Alan Oppenheimer, the voice of Skeletor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The voice of Skeletor was actually perfected for a character in My Little Pony, and he just used the same voice because they were like, just use the same voice.
No, that's cool.
So if you watch, you will hear them
How many Care Bears do we have?
enough to stare.
We had some Muppet Babies. And Cabbage Patch Kids, I was trying to find this. There were some specials, but I don't think there was
there
an
was no
actual
animated
series.
Huh.
They did some specials. They did a Christmas special, I think. But I couldn't find an animated series. Care Bears had the movies.
And
Smurfs were Saturday morning.
Care Bears had an animated show.
Yeah, they had an animated show.
Did they?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it was on this list. It did make the list.
By the way, Strawberry Shortcake lived in a cake made of strawberry.
Yes.
They say it more than once during the intro during
And the
song.
villain's purple.
I didn't get to the villain.
It's
Nurple.
no, it's something like that.
I know.
Purple Meanie.
And
Purple
the,
meanie.
and the Wuzzles. And I know you got a list. One more thing. The Wuzzles. The
Yeah.
intro sucked. And it's such a stupid concept. So a Wuzzle is like a bumblebee and an elephant.
Yeah, it's
Well,
right.
no, there's several different variations. There's different. It's
there's
it's
a
all a
lion.
combination of animals merged together.
I
And they
made
live in the land of was.
of Land of Was, and they're abominations in the face of God.
Okay.
I just wanted to say
I
that.
think we
Now
should,
it's the Land of Was.
no, but we should write this fan fiction. The Land of Was is a continuation of the Island of Dr. Moreau. Moreau dies. They continue to intermingle, and then all of a sudden you got a bunch of Wuzzles running around.
And you didn't have anybody talk about the Pound Puppies?
No.
Because they were huge when I was a kid.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pound Puppy.
You probably went to school with some people who own Pound
Oh, the
Puppies.
Pound
Remember
Puppy.
in school?
I want a pound
Pound
puppy.
Puppy, if I'm not
I never had
mistaken,
one.
if I'm not mistaken, call me out, Pound Puppy Illuminati, but I think Pound Puppies were the Beanie Babies of their day. And my argument for this
Yeah,
is...
they were.
They were bigger.
They were, but I'm saying, they were everywhere, and then for a while, I think it was Hardee's. If you bought a combo or something, you could pay $1.99 extra or $1. I think it was $1 extra at the time, and you got a Pound Puppy. Because that's the ones that I got.
Small Pound Puppies because you couldn't afford the big ones. Like
yeah.
Transformers is another one. Everybody had Bumblebee and Transformers. Yeah. Why?
It's cheap.
Because it was a cheap one. Yeah. No one. How did you know anybody who had who had Optimus Prime? I knew no. There was one kid in my class.
I had Optimus.
What's it like being rich?
I had the Optimus Prime, but way late.
I never had it. It was expensive.
No, well, the one that I had, I got it one Christmas when I was older.
Megatron.
I got it one Christmas when I was older. It was not when I was young, when I really, really, by the way, loved it. Would have loved it. But there was after Optimus Prime died and they brought him back, there was a short-lived time where you could turn into something like Mega Prime and the huge head fell out of the sky. Nobody ever explained where it came. Look it up. That was the one I got because I had begged for it for years, and I think Transformers were fading away quickly. And I think I was 10 or 12, and my parents got it for me for Christmas. And by the way, I technically was outgrowing Transformers. That still was one of the coolest things ever.
One thing,
because the old Optimus Prime, the back of the truck transformed into a gun or something, right?
Or something. I don't know.
This one, it transformed into his Mega Prime body.
They wouldn't pay for Transformers, but that was too expensive. I could get G.I. Joes because they were less than $5.
I was gonna say, I think Transformers also handled the whole. We need to appeal to the female market. They did it really lazy.
Oh no, they one person mentioned Transformers
because of RC, and it was just this.
It's a Cola
pink robot who changed into a weird looking car.
I don't even remember. I didn't even know they even had that.
Yeah, RC. She was the female Transformer. The only. Well, no, there was an episode where Optimus Prime goes and they find the weird tribe of female Transformers that were been hiding in a.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, what's the name of the planet? Cybertron.
Are we getting off topic of female?
No, because I'm talking about RC because it was just a haphazard way of Transformers. It wasn't a. It was a.
Please tell me it wasn't a minivan.
No, it wasn't an actual car.
I gotta take these kids to soccer.
It had a bumper sticker on the back that said
RC was part of Generation 2, where the Transformers, they transformed into cars, but it wasn't any normal looking car. It was a futuristic looking car.
Okay.
So RC changed into a futuristic looking car. In the Michael Bay series, RC for some reason changes into 3 motorcycles. Screw you, Michael Bay.
Or Megatron no longer turns into a gun.
Yeah, he changed it.
That does. I always thought about it. Even as a kid, I was like, "Wait, he transforms into a gun. Who pulls the trigger?" Like
Starscream, you jerk.
But still, why would he let Starscream do it? Starscream fails him every time.
Never had Soundwave. They were all expensive.
I had Soundwave.
Once again, what was it like to come from money?
I had Bumblebee. Bumblebee was it.
Bumblebee's the only.
That was the only one I ever
had several
got.
Transformers. That's all I ever asked for my birthdays, and this was Transformers, so I got a Transformer. But anyway, no.
I asked for world peace.
And then what did they end up doing with RC? What did they end up doing with RC when they realized, oh, this character is really not doing what we wanted to do? They made her take her head off and be operated by a little boy. Which is the weirdest thing to do to a character that's supposed to appeal to females. I'm just saying.
I never want to watch this now. Thanks, Chad.
You killed it for me.
It became then because Wave 3 became the Headmasters, where the Transformers' heads became little bitty Transformers, and then when they attached to the bigger Transformers, they formed the big one. And RC was one of them, and it was controlled by a little boy.
You've totally lost me.
Sorry.
Anyway,
I went too meta on Joe.
I don't think that's what it means. What you think it means?
No. What else?
So yeah, I was really shocked that they didn't have Pound Puppies because. But anyway, Pound Puppies is kind of a depressing thing. And I rewatched the intro to it, and it's like, hey, please adopt us.
Yeah, it's dogs that are in a pound being horribly abused,
but
and nobody wants them.
They help puppies, right?
There's twice at the end of it they beg for you to adopt them.
Yeah.
Pound Puppies is the Hogan's Heroes of 80s cartoons.
It is.
Oh my God.
They can get out.
Pound Puppy.
That's what it was.
I know nothing. They always could get out to help other puppies.
Yeah,
but
I don't even remember.
Was it PC Pup or something? Which stood no, that was Popples. PC Popple stood for Pretty Cool Popple. But
what the hell?
Look it up.
PC.
I don't want to.
LL Cool J stands for Lady Loves Cool James.
Yes, I'm aware.
Well, you didn't know PC Popple, did you?
I didn't know that.
You know what else? You know what else? My mama said. Boom.
I know what your mama said to Joe.
He also had a song called Milky Cereal.
All his mama said to me was wrong, and I was like, don't talk with your mouth full.
We've talked about DuckTales before, but I want to circle back to this. I shared this with you all
People
after
keep ignoring me as we go.
DuckTales has a weird place in history. We talked about it a little bit last time. I wanted to throw it out because it actually indirectly inspired Indiana Jones. Because DuckTales started as a comic.
Well, it's
Carl Barks, Scrooge McDuck.
It's Scrooge McDuck.
And if you find the book...
Or Uncle Scrooge.
Yeah, different print runs. It was Uncle Scrooge and Scrooge McDuck. Then
shout out to...
Carl Barks.
Well, keep going.
Carl Barks and Don Rosa, who does it currently. He lives in Lexington, by the way. Georgetown, maybe. But he's local. Anyway, Carl Barks.
Bonehead.
Carl Barks created.
I keep thinking you're saying Karl Marx. I'm like,
I am too. So
DuckTales is socialism. Anyway, Carl Barks, as in what a dog does. Humps. Anyway,
as your lovely
as
lady
in
humps.
The epidermis of a tree. Yeah. I'm going to drink this 2-liter right now.
Anyway, he wrote a story called the Temple of Ibis or something. In it, Scrooge and everybody sneaks into the tunnel.
Yes.
They're followed by the Beagle Boys. The Beagle Boys steal this artifact that conveniently looks like a statue we'd see later, and run. And of course, when they do that, it triggers a big rolling boulder to chase them. George Lucas, when they reprinted that...
Oh, shocker, George Lucas ripping somebody off.
In the 1990s,
that's harsh.
George Lucas wrote the intro to the book that collected it called The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. In it, he said, because a long time it was rumored, and he finally flat out said, no, I loved these as a kid, because they started in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and he said, this is where me and Steve were talking about how could we start this, it would be so memorable, and both of us remembered reading that, and we were like, that's the way we're going to start Indiana Jones. So that's why in Raiders of the Lost Ark, he steals the thing, gets chased by a boulder. So, DuckTales, even though the cartoon started later, what it was based on actually indirectly inspired part of Indiana Jones.
So we're missing one that we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about She-Ra yet.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about He-Man.
Well, we did talk about He-Man.
She-Ra came about because they wanted to... I'm letting you go.
No, the female toy people wanted to make a female toy
He-Man had outpaced Barbie, right?
Yeah, and they even say in the documentary series that me and Joe keep referencing that She-Ra basically killed He-Man.
Yeah, well, the guy said
the guy says that. The lady says that's not true.
The ladies say it's not true.
Well, yeah.
The answer's probably somewhere in the middle. Because as I watched it, I thought the same thing.
But one thing, okay, but what She-Ra had was amazing villains. I think the villains in She-Ra were actually better than
they had
villains
Hordak,
in He-Man.
They had Evil Horde.
And then the Leech, yeah,
but they didn't have Skunkor.
Skunkor actually wasn't in the cartoon.
But don't you, I honestly, I don't even lay that on She-Ra.
I don't want to lay it on She-Ra either.
Children are fickle. Yeah. Right? And tastes change quickly.
Yes.
And if you get 3 years out of a toy line...
And you're in the era of Reaganomics. I mean, everything was just like...
Do a lot of coke.
Spin.
Do a lot of coke and vote for Ronald Reagan.
Republic. Yeah.
And no offense, you can only dish out so many versions of He-Man before you go, I already have this. It's old hat.
Well, and one of the things that they talked about was that they started dishing out
the battle damage. I never had the original He-Man. I had the battle damage one. I had the original Skeletor.
I had the battle damage one as well. I had the battle damage Skeletor.
I never got He-Man.
Really?
Oh my God!
I did get a lot of those.
I got Buzz Off. That was the only Buzz Off.
I got G.I. Joe and He-Man.
Funny.
Why don't you talk to us about your popsicle stick action figures that you made?
I don't want to hear it living in your ivory palace with your.
Dude,
can't believe you.
And by the way, I watched the documentary.
You're the only kid I know who had that.
I watched the documentary though, and what was funny was they call out
I had all the Dinobots too.
They call out by name Buzz Off. They were like when they talk about how they stopped making He-Man figures, they were making all these secondary, tertiary characters. And they said, yeah, like we had shelf full of Buzz Off, and I'm like, yeah, I got Buzz Off when it was on clearance because that's when my mom could afford it.
Yeah.
So there you go. But thank you for mocking my childhood. I'm sorry I didn't have your Transformers money.
But it's stuff that was under $5.
Yeah.
Right.
I got stuff that was at Big Lots. That was like $2-3.
Oh, we didn't have Big Lots. We had Maloney's.
We had Hills or Hex.
Hex Hex replaced Maloney's. But keep going.
We're not talking
getting off
about 80s
topic.
cartoons.
X, Hills, and Roses.
If you didn't live up in BFE, Kentucky, you have no idea what we're talking about.
Well, that's true, probably.
Our viewers in Bangladesh.
Another one, though, if we want to keep on the female trend, of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends came up a couple times.
Yeah, because of Firestar.
I didn't even know that was an 80s cartoon.
Yeah.
Yes,
Early,
81 through 84.
Early 80s.
I've never seen it.
There's two interesting things about that. Was the first season didn't have Stan Lee narration.
Uh-huh.
They had him start doing the second season, but people liked it so much they made him go back and redub the first season. So now they all have it.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Spider-Man, Iceman, and Firestar shared an apartment.
I don't even know who the other two people are.
Iceman is one of the X-Men.
He's one of the X-Men.
Oh,
Firestar was created for the show because, not unlike now, actually, well, now it's been resolved, but where X-Men was owned by Fox for movies and stuff like that, they had actually sold off the Fantastic Four cartoon to a different company. They wanted to use Human Torch, couldn't get the rights back, so they created Firestar. Firestar pulled a Harley Quinn before Harley Quinn pulled it. Firestar proved popular enough, especially with women, that she was eventually written into the comics.
Hey, I don't want to get off on that now, but it is. We could do a whole episode about how Harley Quinn, how I think people who are imitating her, who are cosplaying her, have no idea of the history of that, and we're really only talking about the last 20 years, the Batman 90s version. Didn't even exist.
Harley Quinn was created by Bruce Timms.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll
Because he
get back.
needed something to give Joker a little bit less of a.
Do you know there was a Teddy Ruxpin cartoon?
Yes.
He had a balloon. I don't remember anything else. I just remember the intro with the balloon.
No, don't remember it.
You know, the
and
one
the Ewoks cartoon, the intro song sucked.
But no, both your lists compared to my, because I didn't have the Facebook or the Twitter
or a computer. But you had Optimus flipping Prime.
And I will say the research that I did
and Megatron.
The research I did kind of matches up with what you all got with the responses that you got. But the only one that appeared on every single list that I saw that is not mentioned is it's Punky Brewster.
Which I didn't even know was an anime. We were talking about it before we.
Yeah, it was both a live action and an animated.
Because I do remember she had a pet that could grant wishes, right?
Yes.
On the cartoon.
Yeah.
She wished not to be an orphan.
Kind of like how Gary Coleman died and was an angel.
I don't actually even know the story of what Punky Brewster is.
She's just a girl. That's
trying to make it in this world.
I'm just a girl sitting here looking at a boy.
She wasn't adopted, right?
The old guy took care of her, right? Like she was sneaking into his apartment.
I never watched
the
show.
In the live action.
So was it a direct ripoff of Annie?
Pretty much, it was an update of Annie. What's funny about that?
It's a Hard Knock Life.
Moon Soleil Fry or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
Who played Punky Brewster? There's I referenced it last time. I got referenced it again. There's a robot chicken that makes fun of the cartoon because it has the toy of that granted wishes of the pet or whatever.
Yeah.
And she basically, if you know anything about the true story,
it's just going about boobs, isn't it?
She had to have breast reduction because, and she did the voice of her own character.
What does this have to do with an 80s cartoon?
Because they make fun of the 80s cartoon that it could grant wishes because what she wishes for is bigger boobs. And then
I never heard you arguing about this topic before.
She locks the thing in the closet, forgets to feed him, and he dies. And that's the end of her one chicken. Okay. She kills, once she gets that, she kills the wish-granting creature.
Okay.
Watch it. No. By the way, if you wonder about any of the cartoons that we talk about, every single one of them is referenced at some point in Robot Chicken by Seth Green and the other guy. Other guy called me up and put you on the show. Yeah, but we'll put you on the show.
He played Dave in Garfield.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't think of his name.
Dave? Who's Dave in Garfield? Is that John?
John. Who's Dave? Dave is Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, Dave Seville.
Dave.
Did anybody bring up Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Alvin and the Chipmunks was on a few people's list
because of the Chipettes.
Actually, now a lot of people actually said they just thought it was funny. Like, cause I kept looking for reasons, and they were like, no, actually, some people actually said I preferred it without the Chipettes.
Though I hate to say it, but the modern movie actually makes more sense because why are they human-sized chipmunks? Was that ever explained?
Well, I was about to say, yeah.
In the 80s cartoon, they were life-size. They were normal-looking kids that were chipmunks.
Oh, I guess that's true. I never thought about it.
That bothered me even when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Why the hell are they
okay with Ninja Turtles?
Yes.
Well, maybe they went through the same process.
So,
but it never was.
What's another one, James? Because I'm kind of curious about the list because I know what I had.
Let's see. I did Spider-Man. I did that already. We talked about DuckTales, Gummy Bears. Thundercats was on here. Like I said, it tied for 5th.
No.
Because of Chitara.
Inspector Gadget was on here, and I think
Inspector Gadget.
We discussed that last episode because of Penny.
But we don't know anybody who likes Inspector Gadget.
Da-da-da-da.
What, your hand likes it?
No.
Your finger.
G.I. Joe did tie with Care Bears. I mean, it was way down the list. Both of them were, but
again,
G.I. Joe.
it was
and I know
it was it was not only was it entertaining for everybody, but it had very strong female characters in it.
Wasn't that kind of shocked me?
Yeah, and strong actually female villains.
Yes.
What shocked me about it though is one that's on the list that did kind of shock me was Fat Albert.
How does Fat Albert end up on a list? And no offense to anybody out there, for asking women, grown women, we were asking grown women about their favorite 80s cartoon that they watched. How does Fat Albert end up on that list?
Because it was a cartoon in the 80s that was entertaining. I mean, like I said...
I didn't even know it existed in the 80s. I thought it was only done in the 70s.
I watched it all the time in the 80s.
No, I mean, it started in the 70s.
Never saw it.
Started in the 70s.
I've never seen an episode.
But like, and as we've talked, in all fairness, fairness, the cartoons in the 80s that were targeted towards little girls weren't that good.
Rainbow Bright, we have two villains called Berkey and Lurky.
So the little girls had to seek out. So Fat Albert, G.I. Joe, She-Ra.
What was the Strawberry Shortcake villain? Does anybody know?
It was the baker.
Too much yeast.
No, that's what I'm saying. He had purple in his name.
Yep, it was a Purple Baker or something like that. Anyway, he was a baker because there's. If you watch the best, I gotta go back to Adult Chicken. Bee Pudding is the best robot chicken creation, and it's mocking Strawberry Shortcake. And I won't go into what the Bee Pudding
What's some other ones? So that we can come talk about.
So Fat Albert
the Purple Pie Man.
Purple Pie Man. That's right. Fat Albert has no female characters, right? Am I misremembering?
I don't remember any.
Mushmouth.
I'm not doing, but
the actual full name was the peculiar Purple Pie Man of Porcupine Peak.
Muppet Babies.
That's a lot of P's. Muppet Babies makes sense though.
Yes.
I watched Muppet Babies.
That
was a Saturday morning cartoon.
But the one character that was added to add more female, because you only had Miss Piggy, was Scooter's cousin Skeeter, who died, right? Or she's dead, right? We never hear from her again.
I don't know what happened to Skeeter because there's some Muppets that kind of come and go.
Yeah.
Like who was the purple guy that was the host?
The Rastafarian guy. Yeah.
They don't bring him back.
You know what? I saw a special a while back, and he's in the background one time. I was like, "Oh, it's that guy."
Who's that guy?
I loved him in that thing. No, you're right. But Muppet Babies, we were talking. I ended up having a conversation with somebody online about this. That because she made the comment, she goes, "Yeah, I always had a concern, that even as a kid, that you only ever saw Nanny's legs, and she was very absentee." And my response to that is, she's the one that trained the people that were counselors at Camp Crystal Lake. Very hands off, very absentee.
By the way, one thing since we're mentioning Muppet Babies, they're actually bringing back Muppet Babies this year.
Yes.
Oh, really?
It's going to be on Disney Junior, so it's going to be actually aimed at very young kids.
And I believe it's computer animated as well.
Oh, of course. But Muppet, I remember one episode.
And by the way, Disney, you own all the properties now. Put that out on DVD so I can own it.
Yeah. I remember only one episode, and it was because they kept getting in trouble because the next door neighbor was a cop. And he had to work at night, so he was trying to sleep through the day, and they kept playing too loud and waking him up.
That was Muppet Babies?
That was Muppet Babies, and Nana or Nanny or whoever the hell was, Leggies, came in and kept saying, next door neighbor cop, shoot him in the head.
I swear to God, I watched that show religiously. I don't remember that.
Lieutenant Commander Splay.
Only one I remember.
But like I said, it hasn't been on the air in
only one I remember.
Over 20 years because of Lucas. Jackass.
But anyway, yeah. So that's the one thing about that, and it was actually created because Muppets Take Manhattan has a fake flashback scene, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
To what they would have been like as kids, because they're imagining what would it would have been like if they would have known each other earlier, which didn't happen. Right? Anyway, Count Duckula tied with Muppet Babies.
I never watched it growing up.
I never watched it.
Count
Wasn't
Duckula.
his weakness like the actual steak?
No, he couldn't take sunlight. He had but when they were bringing him back from the dead, because Count Duckula originally was a Danger Mouse villain, Count Duckula died. It was his hair. Hair was the spinoff.
Hair. Let's just go with hair. Splitting hairs.
You can't. Anyway, when they bring him back,
we got him a gherkin or merkin or a gherkin.
When they
got him a merkin, he's good.
When they brought Count Duckula back as his own show, it was supposed to be his continuation. And when they did the ceremony to bring him back from the dead, Nanny, who was an idiot, accidentally poured ketchup in instead of blood, so it brought him back as a vegetarian. But he still has all the weaknesses of vampires. Has to be back home by daylight, all that stuff.
Okay. What's next?
There's not much else to comment on that one.
Oh,
the Get Along Gang.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm told we're running out of time.
The Get Along Gang. Anybody know anything about the Get Along Gang? I don't remember.
No.
Yeah, me neither. Sorry, Get Along Gang fans. There are a few of you, but yeah, I have no idea. It's a card company. You gave money to a card company. Wuzzles, we've talked about. My Little Pony, we talked about.
Wuzzles are abominations of the god. I can't believe Garfield, because Garfield as an animated series, I don't think happened until the 90s. But what was Garfield was they had a special almost every year.
Oh, yeah.
I have the whole box set sitting over there of all the Garfield specials. I mean, there's the Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Halloween, but people forget there's a ton other ones that they had. Right? You guys remember these?
Yes.
And it was big. It was, you know.
Danger Mouse, same vein as DuckTales. Shirt Tails.
Shirt Tails we have on the table. Yeah.
But Voltron made the list. But there was a female.
And you said Silverhawks as well.
Silverhawks, yeah.
They had strong female leads.
Really?
Yes.
Dungeons and Dragons made the list.
Dungeons and Dragons does have a female. Yes.
Two, right?
Yeah. Two.
Dungeons
and Dragons. And quite frankly, the whiny character is the guy.
Yeah.
Is the one guy that I don't want to do this. The Littles.
I remember the Littles.
I love the Littles as a kid.
Flash Gordon, the animated, which originally was going to be live action, and they literally looked at it and went, "That's too much," and they said, "We'll just animate." The funny part about that is the first season of Flash Gordon, they were originally going to put it on prime time, so they animated the women in a little bit more buxom way. The second season, they redrew it.
Oh.
But
everybody got breast reduction.
Ninja Turtles got a vote or two.
Did the Ninja Turtles come out in the 80s?
86.
86.
It came out in 86.
The cartoon.
Yes. Teenage Mutant. I remember you saying.
Why do I think this never come out to the 90s? Do you have Snorks on there?
I don't. Paw Paws and Biscuits are the last two I have.
I don't know what biscuits are. I know what a Paw Paw is.
Biscuits is the thing you put butter and sometimes gravy. And if you're feeling really randy,
when it comes to putting butter or gravy in something, you ain't about to tell me a damn thing.
What were Paw Paws? They were like Native American bears.
They're this fruit that
right?
hangs off trees.
Shut up. They were bears, right?
I think so.
Biscuits were the same thing except dogs. They all protected native lands or whatever. Biscuits protected the royal family. Paw Paws protected basically the Native American lands.
I missed it.
Biscuits were wizard dogs that were 3 apples high.
Why don't we write wizard dogs? Watch wizard dogs. I'd give wizard dogs at least one spin around.
Yeah, you give it a shot.
I give it a shot.
I mean, I went and saw Monster Truck, so wizard dog, why not? Anyway.
Well, we know it's plural. Thanks, Haley.
I don't even know what's going on behind the kids.
You obviously don't listen to our episodes.
I was clearly, I clearly really taken back the Cabbage Patch Kids, as big as they were.
Yeah, but
because all of them had cartoons or shows.
Kind of wrapping this up, and some of the feedback that I got, as I said, why that show, why that night?
Cabbage Patch Kids are the ones that got people beat up.
Yeah,
yeah.
They were the Nikes of suburbia.
God, that was such a weird time.
Tickle Me Elmo. I mean, there were people fighting over that.
Yeah, but that was 10 years later. I mean, at that time, I can't imagine why Cabbage.
And they always had weird names. My sister had one. It was like Xavier Alexandrix.
Was it Lucy Fur?
No.
Because she greenlit that one show, Rainbow Bride.
Just keep going back to that whale joke.
Jim.
And jumping into
about Jim. But now you're saying another show. But anyway, as I talk to people about this, the ones that more or less...
We never did make it back around, by the way.
I'm trying to now.
Oh, okay.
The ones that tried to pander are the ones that didn't do well, that people didn't talk about. Jim wasn't as pandering. She was a relatively strong
I guess I kind of get what you're saying about the music sucked, but it was the 80s, and it was about fashion and hair and all these...
And again, it was strong female characters.
And strong female characters.
But the ones that kind of tried to quote-unquote pander and be like, this is just a girl show... We didn't get a lot of those on our list, man. I think that says something about. I think the fact that women were watching He-Man and saying, "Hey, Teela's,"
Mm-hmm.
and
Wait.
Maybe they could also have the power.
Did you say? Wait, never mind.
That's it.
I thought you said Transformers, but
You said He-Man.
I'm sorry. I'm
You're
only
just looking for things.
I've toned you out so much.
You just want to yell.
He
at me,
was
don't
mad
you?
in the first 10 minutes and has
know.
not wanted to be here the rest of
He
the
drank-
45.
He drank that energy drink of hate. He drank deeply of the haterade. Anyway,
But, so to wrap it up, do you want to thank some people for
Much
getting
like
back
a
to
book
us?
in the library, I've been checked out.
I want to thank Leslie Tyree. Thank you for telling me about those blue bastards, as you called them, the Smurfs,
Smurfs,
on
yeah.
my Facebook. My kids love those blue bastards, is what she wrote. Santiago, thank you for writing a whole damn dissertation about something. Jennifer Bradshaw, thank you for shouting out. Abby Loinikin.
I may repeat one of those.
There's
names,
several
we'll see.
more. I'm sorry I'm missing you all.
I literally wrote down everybody that didn't tell me not to say their name, so I'll go through these quickly. Shirley Baker, Lisa Lockman, Amanda Kreger, Carla Bond Baker, Kelly Hargett, Janie Garland Lewis, Lauren Weber, Marianne Lawrenson, Layla Cook, Amber Truax, Aaron Hughes Miley, Melissa Milton Pung, El Michelle Harris, Abby Webb, Sammy Pung, Bonnie Bond Pierce, Jennifer Van, All Hell Magna Diva. That's not your actual name, but I didn't want to put your actual name because you had the guts to say All Hell Magna Diva.
Jan, Marcia, the little brat who I can never
Christina
remember.
Lewis actually posted on yours as well.
She was my next. Let's see. Christina Lewis was actually my next page. There you go.
Ahura.
Nyota Ahura.
Did you just call somebody an Ahura?
But
Lenora?
Thank you all so much for playing along with that. It really was one of our best responses to anything.
Yes, and so
And I hope
for
it's
those
somewhere
of
in
you
this.
that didn't see that, when we say we want feedback, please do send it to us.
We'll
we could have given you a shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. You
and
could
if
have
there's-
just had your name on the interwebs.
And if there's some 80s cartoon that we missed, this has been one of the things that we've got the best responses to.
Oddly enough,
So
yeah.
if there's something that we missed, or if we decide to do a 90s one.
He
'cause
keeps
that's
looking at his
Animaniacs.
phone during the show.
I know, it's not like...
During the show.
It's not like these people paid to be here. I mean, they didn't pay to be
technically
here.
this is a podcast. Hopefully they're listening to it and not really, but you all just go down for looking at my phone.
We get more video views than we do, I think, podcasts.
I think. we
Anyway.
do. But moving right along. Thank you all so much.
Yes. And please do respond to us. Let us know. If this episode proves nothing else, we just read off a list of probably 30 names between us. We will do what you all want us to do. Give us feedback. Message us.
Is it okay if I mention what we did today?
Yeah.
Is everybody good with that?
I mean...
I know I didn't ask beforehand.
Well, no.
So we're going to be able to sell some stuff right now. Officially, Bonehead is a corporation. So look for us to be able to buy some shirts and some hats and some glasses. And I don't know. We'll sell you any shit that you want to buy that says Bonehead on it. We're going to be having some of that on our website. We should be getting that up in the next couple of months, correct?
Yeah, I'll write Bonehead on this 2-liter and sell it for $50.
So if you're fans of the show and you want to buy some merch, please, because this isn't cheap. We're paying for things every month.
Yes.
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, so we are progressing. We are now a legit company. We're registered with the government.
The government.
And everything. So
now we have to pay taxes.
Yes. Taxes on nothing.
Nothing.
Joe, would you like to remind them what my wife said I owned a quarter of?
Nothing.
Nothing.
25%. She said congratulations. You own 25% of nothing.
The other way you can help us too is by going to YouTube, looking up Bonehead Humor, subscribing there, going to SoundCloud or iTunes, looking up Bonehead Humor, and subscribing there as well. Also ranking us and leaving comments, because the more ranks we get in iTunes, the more positive reviews we get, the more we appear on iTunes.
Yeah, and if you know any kind of podcast website who hosts and you think would be great for them, by all means suggest it.
Yes, please suggest us. The other part is there is a limit on YouTube that when we hit so many views, we do become, is it monetized or something, the term they use? Sure, yeah, something like that.
Let's remind Haley that some people are listening to the show, and she's behind the camera.
Yes. But anyway, monetized.
We need after 50,000, so we need 50,000 views.
Yes. So
we know 42 of you.
So what we need you to do
Keep
is
clicking. Double click that mouse.
If you want, I'm not going to touch that. If you want to help us, we need you to set up some of those Clockwork Orange viewing sessions with your friends.
Yes. And on that note, do we have anything else to add?
No.
Thank you so much, and thank you for getting back to us with your 80s cartoon suggestions, ladies. This is Joe Lewis.
Jim.
He's not outrageous.
And the holograms. Are you a hologram?
Ow! Are out of here.
Ow.
Boop.
Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hi.
Well, I
I just put my cough drop in.
I think you phoned that in. I didn't feel that high.
This is Rite Aid. It's too late to turn back now. I believe we're falling in love.
Phone's on. Shut the F up. Done.
All right, so we ready?
Thought we were already going.
We've been going.
Oh shit!
No,
She's-
this
you
wasn't
already
a,
asked
this was
her.
not a drill.
You already asked her 3 minutes ago. Where we're going.
I feel
She shook
but
her
I feel
head.
like there's 5 times before the show starts that I have to move this chair a quarter of an inch that way.
Why is he still playing with a jingle ball when we're on air?
Oh, yeah.